Hey everyone, welcome back to Launch Codes Football. My name is Chris.
And I'm Chelsea.
Chelsea, I was hoping for the song. What is this? I'm kidding.
And
I'm kidding.
I'm Chelsea.
There it is. Let's go. We're breaking out into song because we're back, baby. Let's go. But my name is Chris, and we are going to be talking about just the weird things going on with offenses in the NFL this year. But before we get to that, how are you doing, Chelsea?
Doing good. We apologize for the delay in episodes being posted. I had to go get married. So, yeah.
Boo! I'm kidding.
Yay, marriage. So I'm married now. Woohoo.
I'm
Chris is in the
kidding. Yay,
wedding.
let's
Very exciting.
go.
But
Yes.
we are back. The season is somehow a third over.
Kind of
I
crazy.
don't know. I don't know how. Everyone is mediocre this year. There's three
Okay.
good teams in the whole league. The Panthers fired Matt Rule. It is a year, let me tell you.
Okay, see, here's the problem. You said the year is a third over. Depending on the team you cheer for, the year is over. Like it's
That's fair.
over.
I
It's
mean, I
gone.
can't relate, but
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, we're gonna get into all of that in a second. But for real, congrats, Chelsea. Everyone should give her many applause for getting married.
Thank
So
you. Also, Chris got engaged. Yay,
let's
love.
go. Wow, look at the life changes. Wow.
Life changes.
We're
But
all
it
growing
doesn't
up.
change football. And that is still existing. So that was a terrible transition, but all right.
It's okay. We're gonna
Congratulations to
go with it.
Chris. Congratulations to me and my new husband. And I just
Oh.
love all the love. It's just great.
Wow, we love it. Anyways, so today let's get to the offenses. So, what the heck is going on in this league? We have so much bad offensive play, it feels like and I think the reason it feels that way is because it's from guys that we expected to do better than they are doing. To name off some of the teams that are really struggling on offense, I would say the Denver Broncos, the Tampa Bay Bucks with Tom Brady, Packers with Aaron Rodgers, Bengals, Joe Burrow. I mean, he's okay. Joe Burrow's been kind of one of those where he looks good at times, but then at times he throws a lot of interceptions, which I mean happened a lot last year, to be honest. But their
I will
offense
say
hasn't been quite as good.
he was good last week because I played against him and I lost. So that was like his first week of like being really good this season.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that it's kind of just been weird. Lamar Jackson has put up really good stats, but they've blown so many games. Like I think this week marked like the third time they've blown a double-digit lead. So it's just been weird. I think the main target of audiences has been the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson. I think that one has been the one that has been attacked the most. Russell Wilson did get injured this past week against the Chargers, but I think a lot of people really just expected Russell to just make them a Super Bowl contender from the beginning. But yeah, it's been a weird season. You know, guys we just normally expect to do well have just not. Tua was doing really well and then obviously had that very scary injury. You've just got I mean, Marcus Mariota for the Falcons is actually doing pretty decent. It's weird that he's playing better than Russell Wilson and Rodgers.
We
And guys
cannot
like
forget to shout out our guy, Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, man.
Geno Smith has been going off. I don't understand, but
he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league if you look at all of his stats so far. And honestly,
it's mind-boggling.
Everyone thought Seattle was tanking and they were going to be terrible. And honestly, like, can you blame us? Can you blame us for feeling that way? You know, I know any Hawks fans that may be listening, I guarantee you even thought you were going to be like awful this year. But then they've been better than Arizona. Kyler Murray has been kind of at times he looks amazing. Other times he's just been kind of doing what he does, in my opinion. The Cardinals just kind of underachieved quite a bit, in my opinion. But either way, it's just been a weird season. I don't know. What do you think, Chelsea? Do you think it's been odd?
Let's just have like a little like flashback cutscene here for a second? Let's go back to when we were discussing the preseason. You remember when I sat in this chair? I mean, I was in a different location, but in this chair, I sat and I said that the AFC West is going to be must-watch football. And I said it so confidently and so
Lol.
proudly. And looking 6 weeks into the season, I gotta say, no, it's not. The Chiefs, okay, yes. The Chargers, not to the degree that I thought they were gonna be, but still good. The Broncos, I thought were going to be much better. Apparently not. And the Raiders, I thought were going to be at least a little better, and they kind of seem to be worse. So, yeah, I take back that comment because it didn't pan out.
Okay, but the Raiders are weird, right? So they're not good, obviously. They're not that great, but they've also they've played really well, and then they'll just blow it on like a play or two. Like the game against the Chiefs, they were up 17-0. Obviously, that team has skill, but I think they just lack execution. I think they have talent and skill on that team. They just can't execute games, which I know makes you not a good team. That's just part of being a good team, is being able to execute and finish games. I mean, the Chiefs can normally do that. They didn't against the Bills, but I'm just saying, like, and I
Nor
think
did
that
they
was
against the Colts.
yeah. Chelsea was pretty happy about that one, having her wedding the day before, and then the next day the Colts beating the Chiefs. So
I was quite happy. Yeah, we were riding down the highway on our way to our destination, and I was screaming and pounding the roof in joy. It was great. I was having a great time.
and it was like what, 12 to like 13 or something, or like
Hey, a win is a win, man. I
a
mean,
win
look at the
is a
Colts.
win.
Dude, let's not talk about that Thursday night game, but a win is a win, okay?
Look,
I will take the win.
no, you talk about that. We talk about that Thursday night game. Let's just say Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson. Yeah, that was not an offensive masterpiece. Okay, I get why they put that one on Thursday Night Football. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. I
No, I
get
get
that.
it.
But
Yeah.
why last week's? Why this past?
I-
Why did we get Washington and the Bears?
At least a touchdown was scored in that one.
True.
That's
But
more than
like,
we can say for ours.
look, shout out to Stephon Gilmore though, winning the game. But also shout out to Russell Wilson.
Shout out to Russell Wilson for definitely not seeing Tim Patrick wide open on the right
Dude,
side.
That
uncovered.
was like, that man could have walked in the ends. Like, he was so wide open.
That man
was
could have
just-
laid down on the ground with a pillow and a blanket and caught that touchdown and still been open. That's how open he was. So shout out to Russell for not seeing that. Thanks.
I just am like, I am also like partly convinced. I'm like, Russell Wilson is committed to saying "let's ride" to like everything.
Broncos Nation, let's ride.
And I'm just like, he does love his Broncos country, but I'm like, I know some fans get upset about it. To me, it is what it is. It's not the reason they're losing.
What, him saying that you don't think is the reason they're losing? Wow. Hot take.
I just don't think that. I'm like, just calm
Wow.
down. That has nothing to do. Like, how he talks in the press conference literally has nothing to do with how he plays on the football field. They don't have any correlation. So
But
I don't know.
if he says Broncos country, let's ride, and then they don't ride, are they not correlated?
I mean, there are a lot of memes from it. So
I'm just teasing. But seriously, no. The downfall, seeming downfall of Russell Wilson has, I mean, I think some people are more shocked than they should be, right? Because if you look at Russell last year on the Seahawks, he didn't have a great year. He really didn't. Was it to this extent? No. But he didn't have a great year. I mean, if you look at his stats, it just is what it is. So it doesn't surprise me that he has declined a little bit, but it does surprise me about the extent that he seems to have declined. I mean, man is missing dudes wide open. He's overthrowing guys by like 10 yards. He's underthrowing wide open guys by 10 yards. He's not hitting his reads. He's throwing balls into double coverage. I mean, it's like me playing Madden. I mean, dude, you're a real life football player. You're supposed to be better than me.
I think also part of it though is he's dying out there. Like, he's getting hit so many times, you almost wonder now, like, And he did just again, there's an injury. So it's like, is he also off because he's out there dying? Maybe, back when he was on Seattle, um
He
that
was also
even
dying.
he was dying, but he was younger.
Yeah,
So
that's
he
fair.
was maybe able to take it more. But now that he's a little bit older in his career, like I don't know if he's gonna be able to take the same level of abuse. But
Yeah. I mean, I will give him a little bit of like a cushion. They did lose Javonte Williams for the year, which was a really big blow for their offense. So Melvin Gordon was supposed to be the running back one, and he was like a healthy scratch in their last game, which is super confusing. Couldn't tell you why. But the loss of Javonte Williams is big. And then they lost one of their starting O linemen in the game against us to a season ending injury. So there's definitely some injury problems going on that offense. There's no disregarding that. But even still, I mean, Russell Wilson has always been a guy who has been able to carry an offense, whether or not all the pieces are there or not. I mean, that's just kind of
mhm.
how he's always been in his prime. That's how he was. I mean, the Super Bowl, people give credit to, the Legion of Boom, but he was still there and he still had to do his part. Like he's always been good at carrying an offense to, most extent. But just to see the dramatic drop off that has happened to him this year is just kind of shocking. And if you're a Broncos fan, you are probably hating yourself because you're realizing our drafts are screwed for the next 5 years if Russell Wilson truly is broken. Now, apparently, he has sustained multiple injuries. Apparently, he sustained one last game. Apparently, he was playing through something in the Colts game. So apparently, he's injured, but he can't really afford to sit, right? Because if he sits, then the Broncos are really not going anywhere, right? So he's probably just trying to play through them, to get them into the playoff hunt. But even still, I mean, he's looked really bad, which is sad because he was so dominant for, so many years that we watch. And now just kind of see the fall off of him. I mean, to some extent, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, look at him. I mean, what's going on with that guy? I mean, that's crazy. So just kind of to see the way that these guys' careers kind of seem to be catching up to them is both interesting and sad because those guys have been cornerstones of the NFL for the last 10 years. I mean, at least. So
I will say, in some defense of Aaron Rodgers, the Packers don't like having receivers or drafting them. So,
that's true
and then they said bye Devonte Adams, goodbye. And
because they have
you know,
Alan Lazard. Duh. They don't need him.
and he did catch a touchdown the other day. It was a nice play, but I don't know. It's just crazy that we've got, Aaron Rodgers struggling, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady struggling, but then you have guys like Bailey Zappi for the New England Patriots who are
Yeah.
who are just playing really well. I'm not saying they're better. Obviously, we can't jump to that conclusion. It's been 2 weeks
I
of
mean, we
Bailey Zappi.
could. We
Uh,
could jump to the conclusion,
I
but
but
we're not going to because
no,
we're reasonable like that.
are we? Um, and then you've got, it's just interesting. It's just interesting to see all of this happen. Maybe there's a new wave coming of NFL quarterbacks. I mean, obviously, we kind of do with Mahomes and Josh Allen. Like that's kind of
Lamar.
Lamar. Again, though, Lamar just his play the other day against the Giants really just puzzled me. I mean,
Yeah. Maybe the
he
Giants are just good.
I mean, the Giants are
I
good,
mean,
but when you watch this play, like even people who love Lamar to death cannot defend this. I mean, they're up by 10. The Ravens are up by 10 in the fourth quarter. It's getting to be late. This is the time to run the clock out. They fumble the snap. Lamar tries to make an incredible play, throws across
oh,
his
I watched
body.
that live.
Yeah, like that was really bad and just
Yeah.
not a smart play at all by Lamar. And then the very next play they fumble as well. And I'm like, or their next drive they fumble as well and the game's over. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like I think Lamar's very good. Don't get me wrong, and I think the Ravens still should pay him because I mean, you're not going to find a guy better than him just in free agency. You're just not. So
You're just not.
I mean, it's just been weird. It feels like the offensive play has been sloppy, but the defenses to some credit to them, I think are also getting better. They're recognizing like defenses are being built different every year or we've been seeing a lot of change to smaller, faster guys. Therefore, whenever you are throwing the ball a lot now, defenses are kind of built to stop that. That's what most NFL defenses have to be good at is stopping the pass or rushing the quarterback. But well, you can't even rush the quarterback anymore. If you tap them, they like Tom Brady, man, you barely touch him. Oh, that's a foul. Like
You see that Kevin Hart segment that they did on one of the sports talk shows? They picked him up and gently laid him on the ground and cradled his head with a pillow and softly laid a blanket over him. And they were like, "This is how you sack the quarterback, guys. Come on."
I think I have seen that.
That was
That's
gold.
That's hilarious.
It was gold.
It's the truth. I mean, literally, you can't be like that with quarterbacks, so you just have to, I guess, play around that. I don't know. You just have to intercept the ball now. There is no sacking anymore.
And I mean, to some extent, like I've even seen changes to the best offenses in the league. I mean, look at the Chiefs. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is in the MVP race. I mean, there's no arguing that. They've still been really good, but they look a lot different without Tyreek. Not to say that they are significantly better or significantly worse without him, but they look different and they have to operate differently. And, he just gave them that ability to stretch the field, and they don't really have that to the same extent anymore. So even that offense, which is arguably one of the best in the league, looks different and is operating differently. It's still working for them because, they have the right pieces there, but still just been interesting to kind of see the way that offenses have been operating, because it's didn't look like this last year. I can tell you that much.
So basically, it's because Travis Kelce. I mean, the man literally on Monday Night Football against the
Carried.
Raiders. I mean, 4 touchdowns. Like
Carried.
Maybe.
He carried, dude. They would not have won that game without him.
And shout out to Devontae Adams, and I believe it was Hunter Renfrow running into each other. Isn't that like 2 games now that Hunter Renfrow like has been at the end and kind of like, I don't know. Anyways, I'm not saying Renfrow is bad. I'm just saying that it's interesting. But anyways, yeah, I think it's a really interesting topic to see how the offenses are going, and and I think if we continue to see this trend, we'll have a lot to talk about, definitely, with it.
For sure.
But yeah, so now I just kind of wanted to get in just real quick. Not a super long episode today, but wanted to get some content out there, but did want to talk about some games I think we should keep an eye on and our picks on them. So I think, honestly, there's no like super huge matchups. Like, we last weekend we had like the Bills and Chiefs. This weekend we don't really have anything like that.
We have the Colts and Titans, the AFC South showdown that everyone cares about, obviously.
I mean, that is a showdown. I agree. My bad.
The showdown of suck. Whew.
Anyways, we've got the Seahawks at the Chargers. I think this will be interesting. I mean, the Seahawks, again, they they lose both their running backs, but then they have Kenneth Walker from Michigan State / Wake Forest,
who's on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I was kind of upset. I was like, you took my boy, but it's fine.
Your fault you didn't draft him.
Whatever. And he comes out and has a big game against the Saints and the Cardinals, and so I'm impressed. I'm like, this offense just seems to be clicking, and so I'm gonna go with them over the Chargers. And to be honest, I'm sorry, but the Chargers being at home, it's not a home game. It's gonna be like a good amount of Seahawks fans there. That's just SoFi Stadium. There is no loyalty to the home teams in SoFi Stadium. They can talk about how big and everything it is, but I swear there were more Broncos fans than Chargers fans the other night. And then Rams fans, I mean, LA, they're focused on the Lakers now. Like,
not the Dodgers, though. Rip.
Rip. But yeah, what do you got, Chelsea?
So, my brain wants to pick the Chargers, but my heart cannot not pick Geno Smith.
Let's go.
And the Seahawks. I gotta go with them. I don't know. They've just been shockingly good, and I just don't know if the Chargers are ready, to be honest.
I mean, hey, their special teams are ready. They have some big IQ on that special teams, which
that's true.
Also,
I mean, their kicker did win AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. So
I think the guy who shoved, on the punt there, Jasir Taylor, also out of Wake, by the way. Really crazy. There's a lot of random Wake Forest players. But anyway, I'm just shouting out. I'm just saying. But he made the biggest brain play I've ever seen. But anyways, I think it'll be an interesting game. I think the Chargers could put up a decent amount of points. I think they'll finally, I think there will be offense this game. So
I
get hyped for
agree.
that.
Woo!
Next game, we got the Chiefs at 49ers. I think the 49ers are a pretty difficult matchup for a lot of people. And I do know that Nick Bosa was out for last game against the Falcons. Shout out to the Panthers injuring him at the game that I went to. Didn't actually injure him, but he was playing.
Rip.
And then, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs on this one. They lost against the Bills. I don't see them dropping 2 in a row. And I think while the 49ers are a tough matchup because they're one of the most different teams you're gonna play, they run the football a lot and they'll throw it every once in a while with Garoppolo, but most of the time, they're running that football and they play really good defense. Their defense is very good, but I will be interested to see, how they bounce back as well because they did just lose to the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Chiefs as well. I think that this will be an underrated matchup. I think the 49ers are a hard matchup for everyone, especially with that defense. But I can't pick against the Chiefs, who are arguably one of the best teams in the league right now. And Patrick Mahomes is one of the front runners for MVP. So I can't pick against them. Even away, even, at San Diego, I can't choose against them. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. And then getting into our final game, Bengals Falcons. Wow. Interesting. Who you got, Chris?
I think that the Falcons will win this one.
Gasp. Why is that?
I mean, I think they are legit in the running to win the division. Now, the NFC South is terrible. We're not going to act like it's not. But I really think that the Falcons actually have a legit chance to win it, honestly. The Bucks have not looked that good, honestly. They've looked kind of
You mean the Bengals?
kind of mid. No, I mean the Bucks have looked kind of mid. And
yeah.
the Saints, no, I just don't think they're very good. I think that their issue is a lot of it just kind of quarterbacking. It's just not there right now. Whereas the Falcons have figured out an offense and I think I'm just learning that if you just throw away all of your quote unquote stars and just replace them with random young guys, then you'll be fine, apparently. Or not random. They're not random, definitely. But anyways, I think the Falcons will pull this game out. I think this is a very winnable game for them, especially at home. And the Bengals did just beat the Saints. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to be it's going to be an easy one. I think this one also has potential for scoring. Man, we need scoring, please. Fantasy owners are dying out here. Quarterbacks, please.
Kyle Pitts owners specifically are dying.
Yes. Hey, he got his touchdown last week.
1. Woo!
But hey, they're sitting at a decent 3-3. They're okay where they're at, in my opinion. But yeah, Chelsea, who do you got?
So as much as I want to pick the Falcons, I can't. After the week that Joe Burrow had last week, he may be able to hit his stride, especially playing against, not necessarily like a lower tier team in the league. This would be a good game for them to continue, getting into rhythm as an offense, and to, strengthen up some things on defense. So I'm going to go with the Bengals, but it would not surprise me if this was a close game. I'm going to be honest.
All right. Well, there you have it. Just some interesting games to keep an eye on for the week. And we'll definitely have more content for you about the NFL coming. We've got a lot of football still left, even though we're like a third of the way through. We still got a lot left. So it'll be exciting.
We will also do the rest of our game picks this week and post them, because we got to keep track of who's going to win or not. I know we've only done 1 week, but it starts now.
What do you mean who's going to win? I mean, I'm going to win the picks here.
I believe that last year it may have been
rigged.
Not you who won.
Rigged.
Rigged how, bro? You picked the teams.
Anyways, okay. Well, I think we can go ahead and do our outro here. And Chelsea, would you mind leading that?
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Tune back in next week for more content. In the meantime, follow us on Twitter at LaunchCodesFB and on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at LaunchCodesFootball. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm Chris.
And we will see you next week.
See ya.